Hey Paranormies, it's Alice, and you're on the light side of the paranormal. And really quick before we get into it, if spooky and paranormal content is your jam, become a part of our Paranormy fam. Today I am going to be sharing a viewer story, but not only is it a viewer, but it is my husband's cousin Tennelle. She lives in Trinidad. We miss you, girl. We love you if you're watching this video. We're gonna come and visit you soon. When the world opens up again, we're making that trip to come and see you. Also, a quick disclaimer before we get started. I have crazy dogs. I have a pack of dogs that I live with, which was the dream, and I'm glad to be living it. But they do create a lot of noise upstairs. I am currently filming in my creepy basement right now, and that sound just gets amplified, so please bear with me if there is any background noise. So I am naming this story Tennelle's Haunted Hospital Shift, but it will actually include a few different stories from herself and a couple of her co-workers at the hospital. So if you haven't put two and two together yet, that's okay. Tennelle is a nurse, and she works in a hospital on the island of Trinidad. This is her story. So all the stories that I will be sharing from her today all take place within two different locations in the hospital. We have one, the side room, and I'm just going to go ahead and read you what that is. There's this room called the side room where the nurses will take a nap during their night shift. Okay, so pretty self-explanatory. It is a room off to the side. They can just catch some rest when they're working these long hours. And the second location is the nurses' station in the hospital. For all you nurses out there that like a scare, hopefully you enjoy this. Or I may make you quit your job, and I'm sorry in advance. Alright, the side room. Even the people that have never experienced anything paranormal say they don't like this room. It is creepy and has a weird energy. That is definitely worth noting. I think that even if you're not a believer of the paranormal, all humans do have the ability to sense energy, whether that be a vibe from a person, a place, or a thing. We can all sense that. So I'm glad that she is mentioning that because it says a lot about the room already. Alright, let's see what else she has. Some time ago, one of the nurses said she felt someone touch her. She vowed to never stay in there again. Wow, that must have been so terrifying. Last week, one of the nurse's assistants said she spent the night in that room. She was laying down on her stomach. She felt a pair of hands pressing down on her back. She started to pray and it disappeared. After that, when she worked nights, she played YouTube videos with prayers on her phone. It's definitely always good to play it safe. One night, her battery was too low to play the prayers. She started to pray verbally and was getting very sleepy. This was at 3 a.m. And if you don't know, 3 a.m. is actually the time when the veil between our world and the other side is the thinnest. She was sitting at the table and felt a hand pressing down on the back of her head, pushing it forward as if to bow down. Ooh. She is so brave and has continued to rest in the side room during her night shifts. Wow, she is a champ! This nurse assistant! She needs a promotion or something, oh my gosh. Very, very committed to the work. So, where do I begin? Okay. With the sensations of being touched and having hands on your back, I have definitely personally experienced that, like phantom hands, and it is not for the faint of heart. I feel like there's a lot of comfort that we find in the fact that ghosts can't really touch us, they can't really access our field, our reality, but there are some instances where different entities actually can, and that's when things can actually get very dangerous. People can end up with bruises, scratches, and things like that. I'm glad that you didn't mention that she received any damage or like severe injuries from the touching. That's really good, but very interesting. I feel like they touched her back instead of like if she was sitting up her front, because maybe it was something that didn't want to be seen, but they still wanted to do whatever the purpose of that was. And the bowing down really rubs me the wrong way. I don't exactly know, like immediately I'm getting like an entity that believes that they are above everybody else. Maybe this entity noticed that this woman was praying a lot and wanted her to pray to it instead. We don't exactly know for sure what that could mean, but please keep me posted with any progression there. Alright, our next little story. For myself, I have always felt a presence in that room. I often get the feeling of being watched. I protect myself spiritually so I don't feel bothered by it. I have learned to work around it. Well, that's very, very good, Tennelle. I'm glad if we can figure out ways to cohabitate peacefully with different spirits, that's always the best way. However, if something has negative intentions, negative energy, if they are bad, we don't want to cohabitate with them. So it may be good to get a second opinion. There are ways to push a spirit out. You could even just try saging the place if you get permission from your supervisor or whatever. But yes, I'm glad that you figured out ways to protect yourself. That's really, really important. And yeah, just keep trucking. And she has another story here. Another time, I was working a night shift alone. The nursing station that I was at has a window with 2 little shutters. It has one shutter that can lock from the inside, and the outer one doesn't have a lock, so it always stays open, but it can be pushed in to stay closed. It looks out into the main corridor. So I had the shutter pushed in, not locked, and it was loose enough that if a breeze were to come in, it would come open. Around 1 or 2 a.m., I had the shutter open and it slammed shut. Thinking someone was playing a trick on me, I got up and inspected the corridor, but no one was there. I came back in and I thought I heard a woman singing. I went back out to inspect again and nothing. This happened again once more. Wow. Okay, so the good thing is the woman singing doesn't necessarily mean that there was a woman walking down the hallway or possibly a woman trying to mess with you. It could just be some residual energy. There is a lot of death that happens in hospitals, and so sometimes when a traumatic event has occurred, a residual haunting can happen where it just leaves this energy imprint of what once was because it was so intense. So I'm gonna blame that on the singing, but it could be the other way as well. It could be an intelligent haunting, but I lean towards a residual energy there. But in terms of the shutter being pushed in and slammed shut, that's really interesting to me. And there is one last short story here. Thanks, Tennelle, this is great. Lastly, an update. Ooh. The nurse's assistant from my first story was visited again by what we believe is the same entity. She was in the side room and saw an attendant walking towards a door that security keeps locked at night. Shortly after, he circled back and was walking towards the exit. She said goodnight and he replied the same. After he left, she experienced the sensation of her head being pushed down to bow again. Oh my gosh, this poor girl. Okay, I have another theory about the bowing thing. It is possible. What if something could be mocking the fact that she is a religious woman? What if it's something being like, yeah, bow down, you know? Like, maybe they're just mocking her prayer and the fact that she does bow her head to pray, I would assume. That is a theory. Now, it's also interesting, take a shot every time I say interesting, but it's also interesting that she saw that man walking to the locked door. You didn't mention that she saw him walk into the door, so that's kind of good. I wonder, okay, it could be one of two things, I think. Thing one, it is someone that was there to do maintenance or something and realized the door was locked and then came back to leave. Totally possible. But once again, I'm leaning towards a residual energy as well. It's just that was his routine for so much of his life, and maybe when he passed on, like, that energy was left there. Just going to the door to do the maintenance, leaving, going doing his thing, going about his night. Wow, these are some really incredible stories. And a little bit of side notes here, you had said that everyone was really surprised that you had actually gone into the corridor to inspect when you had heard the woman singing and when the shutter was pushed shut. Yeah, not everyone is brave enough to go out and look towards what the danger or the potential danger could be. Obviously, please protect yourself, but that is the best way, in my opinion, to get down to the bottom of something when it's unbelievable or unlikely. My favorite paranormal investigators run towards the noises, so bonus points, brownie points for you. And it looks like everyone is overall like pretty scared of these different occurrences, and I'm assuming that there will be more. And on that note, we're just gonna wrap that up right there. Thank you so much, T, for sharing. I really appreciate it. This is so interesting, and I love hearing stories from places outside of North America. It's just even more interesting to me, so, oh, I said interesting again. And if you, who is watching this right now, has any paranormal stories that you'd like to share with us, we do have our email in the description, which you can send us a longer message, or you can send us something short, either in the comments section or in our DMs. And on that note, please give us a follow over there on Instagram at TLS_paranormal. Make sure to check out the description on all of our videos. We have so much information there for you guys. You can also follow our personal Instagrams there, Jenna and myself. It's all in the description of this video. Please give this a like if you want to see more spooky stories. Share this video to give your friends a fright, and live your life with love and light. We'll see you next time. Bye!